Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Second Act Actors. I'm your host, Dr. Janet McMorty, and I was and still am a medical doctor simultaneously trying to pursue a career in acting. We are headed across the pond this week to chat with Berlin-based actress Lisa Riesner. I hope she just got a chuckle with me pronouncing her name like that, because she sent me lovely voice notes saying, don't worry about the proper German pronunciation of my last name. If you can't do it, just say Lisa Riesner, like they say in the States. I'm like, no, I want to practice. I have no experience with German, but I was like, I want to practice saying your name properly because it's beautiful. Lisa Riesner. There's that beautiful guttural German accent. Oh, I love it. That I just, my West Coast Canadian vocal cords have such a hard time making that sound. Anyways, her story is incredible. She was a journalist prior to pursuing her career in acting. She also is a producer and a writer. We talk in depth about how she believes, and I do too, that it's important to not wait for that dream role to drop into your lap, that director to just drop in and say, hey, here's the dream lead role. You can create the lead roles for yourself, those dream roles for yourself. And she did exactly that. We also chat about the importance of having an ego as an actor, as well as the differences between the European film industry and the Canadian film industry, as well as the film industry in Hollywood. Oh, I'm so excited for you to hear her story. Please enjoy the lovely, the incredible Lisa Riesner. I think that sounded pretty good. I gotta work on my German.
Podcast.
Do you? Yeah. You know what? I tried to do it.
I said, okay, are you ready to record? And I'm like, welcome everyone.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
I tried to do that, and the first couple people I did it with, the guests were just like, you look really dumb when you do that. Like, some people can pull it off so nicely, like you very obviously can pull that off. I just looked stupid.
I would love to see it though.
No. Somewhere out there it exists, and it was not pretty.
Okay, I get it.
So, remind me again, whereabouts in the world are you located?
Yeah, right now I'm in Berlin.
Oh, very
I'm
nice.
jumping around quite a bit forth and back.
Are you? Yeah, where do you jump around to and from?
Copenhagen, Oslo, lately. These are the three cities, yeah.
Wow. Any reason in particular those three?
For acting, yeah. And basically also because there have been a lot of possibilities to do movies and commercials.
Yeah, in those three cities.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, that's awesome. Yeah, so tell me your story. How did you get into acting?
Yeah. So I've been, since I was 15, I wanted to be, I wanted to write a book and write stuff. And I never questioned that, being 15, ever again, until the point when I started to question it. So I studied speech and journalism, and I was a journalist. Until one day, I was in Brussels, sitting in the office, being on a phone call, interviewing someone on the phone, being on my laptop for 4 hours, and then there was this other phone call coming in. You have 1 hour left, and I'm like, my back hurt. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to just sit on a computer every day while imagining myself, journalist, as being a profession where you interview everyone face to face and you travel around. And I ended up sitting every day. So I said I have to do something else where I can express and I can move, because my body is screaming for it and my soul. And then I had some circus friends who did theater, and I kind of, because I never did theater, I was not that kind of girl who was like in an acting class or something, you know. I was never that kind of girl, like when I was in school or something. So I discovered that when I was 25, through my circus friends, theater and playing those games, and I was fascinated, and we broke into a circus at night and we played games, like theater games in a circus at night. And I completely fell in love with acting and theater and playing different characters and roles. And I didn't have the guts to study acting or to really do it. So I said, what am I going to do? And there was this 1-year program, which was like finding oneself. It was kind of self-development year. And there we did a theater project, biographic one, like working with your own biography. And I studied theater every day and speech and everything that belongs to it. And I played like 5 characters in this play. I was like, whoa, I can just hit off like 5 different characters in a 1-hour play, just like that. And I was like, okay, maybe I found my vocation, you know. And I basically went straight off and studied acting then in Berlin. Had no money, so I was a waitress at night. And my teacher told me, if you want to do this, you will find the money. You will get a scholarship or anything. And I tried to get it for 5-6 months, and then it really worked. And most of my studies I got paid through scholarships then. So, but it was a crazy ride, and of course was also something emotional. A friend of mine, he wanted to be a director, and me, I wanted to be an actress back in this 1-year program. And he actually, he died, and it was, for me, a very drastic point of, okay, why am I here? Why is this happening? I really like this guy, he's a friend, and we just talked about our dreams together, you know, many times in long conversations. And so I was like, I'm not going to just do it for me, I'm going to do it for him as well. And yeah, 6 years later, 6.5, I'm here, traveling the world. It's not too bad. It's not going too bad. It's like, did my acting diploma and started working right away. It went really well for me. I cannot complain about the pandemic. So I'm really a full-time actress, and I'm super proud of it, and just recently also realized that, and I'm like, oh, I like that.
It takes a bit, hey, to say that out loud, I think. Like, I am an actress, I am an actor, this is my job, this is my career. Because it just, I don't know, there's a bit of a society thing that kind of poo-poos that, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always just super proud if I say it, because I know what it means. I know my path and where I came from and how hard I worked and how hard I still work. So for me, I say it with a lot of pride and a good feeling of grace. Yeah.
I like that, because I think that's a really inspirational thing to hear, because it really is saying it with pride, because you are doing it for yourself and you're proud of yourself. Like, it's not for anyone else's benefit that you're saying, I'm an actor. It's pure you doing what your dream is and knowing what you've done. I love that.
Yeah, me too, a lot. And we actors, you know, sometimes we're so humble, or we're so, because it's not full-time yet, and also for the people out there, don't worry, but don't be ashamed. Just say it. I'm an actor. I'm an actress. I'm working myself up the scale. Like, I'm trying to become a full-time actor. That's already amazing. Like, looking around. So keep spreading the word as well, because you don't know who sits in front of you. So I'm saying it all the time, because I never know who sits next to me, you know? Like, if people ask me what I do, I just say it, because it could be the next job opportunity.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And I think, again, like we think society, and I think we think that society puts a definition on what an actor is. And so we're kind of a bit ashamed to say it because we don't have that like Hollywood starring role that everyone thinks like, oh, what have you been in? But again, like you were saying,
that's always the first question.
Right?
Exactly. It's like, it's always the first question when people know I'm an actress. They ask me, so what have you played in? Like, can I watch the movie? And I'm like, look, I'm starting off. I'm in the business since 1.5 years. I've been working all the time. Like, I always had a job and had great jobs. So I'm super grateful. But of course, I'm not a Hollywood star yet. Like, of course. But I definitely, because I'm doing my own films now. And this is something I told myself, I'm not going to wait until this role or this director or ever appears and the Hollywood thing happens, but I make it happen for myself. So I started to do my own movies, and I started off really small. But the last thing I've done now in Oslo, that was my own movie, was really big. I I wrote the script myself. I was the producer next to 3 amazing women. It's called Hurra for Norge. And I played in a leading role next to Rune Temte from The Last Kingdom and Captain Marvel. He's a Hollywood star. And Lucas Lugren, who's in The $1 Billion Code. He's a Swedish actor. That's a Netflix series. So I made this happen myself, and it's been a crazy ride. Janet, I can tell you, I've wrote these actors via email. Do you want to be in my film? We're starting this off in Oslo. I've sent in my recent film. Alice was my last film that I did. It was also really successful and got some prizes. But also a short film, of course, because I'm starting off small. I'm just on my own, trying to make something work. And they said yes! And we freaked out. The women I was working with, by the way, all women, it's also super uncommon in the film business that women do a movie, like director, producer, executive producer, graphic designer, everything women. Super proud of that. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to fulfill my dreams myself. Oh, I want to play this leading character. And it's a martial arts film, Hurra for Norge. And I always wanted to be this boxer girl, always. And I was like, I'm going to make this happen for myself and play next to amazing actors. And that feels great. And then I tell this to people, I said, maybe you don't know this because it's a short film, but I played with really big people and I organized it myself because I don't want to wait,
Yeah. Do you think, so I think that takes a lot of courage to be able to even just send the email out to an actor like that. Definitely. Do you think, was that from, are you just a courageous person at baseline? Or did your prior job as a journalist did you bring any skills in from that, like networking skills? How did that come about? Yeah,
I have a lot of skills from my journalism, and when we did this movie, it starts with how I Google things, how I Google the email addresses, and how I Google the actors and stuff like that. I have a lot of skills from my journalism job. I love that you asked that. Yes, and it's true. And the other girls were like, how did you even find his personal email address, and how did you do this? And I was like, I have my skills, ladies. That's why, that's why I'm 30 now, and I have all this knowledge. I'm not 19 and don't know how to do this and this and that. I know a lot of things. And then definitely also life experience because, the situation with my friend who died. And I was just like, from this point on, I was just like, whatever I want, I'm going to go for it. Because he was 27 when he died, and we can die every moment. It can just happen. It was an accident and can happen to anyone. And I don't want to look back and regret or don't want to hold back for any reason,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you have any advice for anyone who's thinking about doing what you're doing? Changing careers or making that shift? Or even thinking about just as an aside, lots of people who I chat with about this first act, second act shift have had something similar to what you had with your friend. Like something has happened in their life that kind of, I don't know, it's like it ignites something for good or for bad. It either explodes or like there's a big chapter shift. There's just a big shift that happens to make them go, I can't be doing what I'm doing anymore. Do you have any advice for people who are kind of in that phase? I
definitely have. First thing, there is a book, 7 Ways to Effectiveness. And the guy writes, I don't know his name right now. The guy writes, you can either wait for this accident to happen, for your loved one to die, for you to have this sudden close to death experience, or you can just sit down on the table and start to deeply reflect on your life and start to make things happen and start to work from within, you know?
How do you start that? I know that's a very loaded question. But how do you even start? How did you start with that?
I also want to say that my second advice is have mentors. Have people you look up to in the same profession that where you want to go, or if you don't know yet, but I guess we're talking about acting, then should be actors or acting teachers, or just people that can help you anyways. I had she was a body therapist, and I went to her for 1.5 years, and she gave me so much confidence. For example, she was like a coach to me, and she always said, Lisa, you're young. You have to be egoistic, because I was thinking about maybe, can I go to Berlin or shouldn't I be closer to my parents? And all these questions that come when you go for your dreams, you know. And basically, she said, you have to be egoistic. You're young now. When you're older and once you have children, you can come back and be there for them and create a life for them and live for them. But now, go for what you want and strive for it. And she really gave me that last kick that I needed, because I was really doubting this point, you know, if I can be, in German there's even a word for it. We say like healthy egoism. So there is something like healthy egoism, but you definitely, and that's really my advice, you need coaches, you need mentors, people you look up to. You don't need to pay them. It's not about that, but someone where you go and you say, look, this is my dream. I've obviously have fears, doubts, I'm not sure. Can you help me? Because you are living parts of this dream, or you are living this dream, and I want to be like you. And don't be afraid to say that. You can't lose yourself, because we're always connected to ourselves. I will never be like someone else, but I can have the courage to just say, yes, I want to be like you. I want to have this life, or this vibrant energy, or this jobs, or whatever it is. I want to be an actor. Yeah.
I had a conversation with a headshot photographer here in Toronto, in Canada, and she's a practicing Buddhist, and we were talking about ego as well too, especially ego as a woman, like people who identify as women, because the world always says, you know, you need to have no ego, like shut down your ego. But as women, I think we've been programmed to not have we never had an ego to begin with, because we've, in society, have always been raised with no ego. So it's like when we get into, I know an acting school I was in was talking about you can't bring your ego anywhere. I was like, what ego? As a woman, I have never had an ego, because I've been told I'm not allowed. Like, that's for like the men and high-powered people in society who have these massive egos that they bring in. I don't really have a question for you. It was just more of a statement. Yeah, it was more of a, yeah.
But you know what my acting teacher said? He said something amazing. He said, you guys, he talked to us, the students, you need your ego, because your ego is your protection. Because we're pulling off everything. We're showing our hearts. We're getting so vulnerable. If you really have like amazing acting partners and everything is in frame, you are showing your naked self there. And very deep emotions or very on-point techniques, and that takes a lot. So we need our egos to protect us. That's what he said. And then he said, and I also like that, he said, every actor needs an ego because you gotta like what you do. Because
that's such a good point.
Yeah, that is the part. So for us, it's liking what we do and hearing us and liking the voice or being okay with what we just said or how we brought it to the table, how we brought the sentence over to our partner or whatever, or how we moved or how we did that thing. But from the outside, that's our charm. That's, that's the thing that makes us different from others. It's the ego, and we need to like ourselves. And it's something that I understood. I understood that my acting teacher was brilliant. Michael Chekhov technique in Berlin. He's teaching that, and I saw that he likes himself. He likes what he does, and if he doesn't like it, he's switching. And he's changing and transforming so that it becomes good and becomes something that he likes. And for me, basically, it's just being more focused on what I do and how I do it. It's a very playful process. But then I can say, yeah, I like that. That was good, Lisa. Like I'm talking to myself, that was a good one. Good sentence, good. Or maybe not. And then, oh shit, we got to work this out now because that wasn't really on point,
That is wonderful. I love that because I think that, and I wonder, does that come with age and life experience? Because I think about myself at 19 who did not like herself. And I think that's a very common thing, right? Because you just don't know yourself yet. And I think of myself now, I'm in my late 30s. I think I'm great. Because you were saying, I just don't care.
You are great.
You just don't care as much what the world thinks of you anymore, and that in turn leads to relaxation and playfulness. Do you feel that way as well? Do you think it's more? Would you at 19, if you hadn't gone through journalism and just went right into acting, do you think that would have happened?
I stood in front of the camera when I was young, when I was a journalist, because I did this, documentaries or moderating, with the microphone. I was really on it, but I had no clue what I'm saying. Very often I didn't panic, but it went in this direction. I was super insecure and I was not in charge of myself. It felt like I'm not in a place of power. And now when I'm in when a movie is going or I'm on stage, I feel quite in a place of power, and that's amazing. That's an amazing transformation. But what I think is definitely life experience, definitely. And then the other thing that I think is really important, and it comes also with life experience. So yes, 100% to life experience. I did a lot of meditation, somatic work, coaching. Like life coaching or mindfulness and things like that, to really feel, for example, how's my breath doing? How am I today? Caring about myself. Am I good today? Do I need more rest, more sleep? Things like that. And then I think when I show up very whole because I'm really taking good care of myself. And this is, for example, something looking back when I was younger I didn't do. And sometimes I see that young actors, they're talented and they're willing sometimes, not all the time also, because being willing is also a big point of being successful. You're willing to do the work and are you punctual and things like that. But they are missing a bit this connection to self. So when they then get irritated, like my 19-year-old self also in front of the camera, they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to, just, for example, nowadays I just know I'm just going to take a breath, sigh, and sometimes that's already enough to just continue with the filming. Yeah.
Tell me about, and this is a bit now a change of topic because I'm so curious. Tell me about the film industry where you are in Europe. I've chatted with people in the UK and obviously people in Canada where I am and in the States. Tell me about what it's like, because I have this feeling, and let me know if it's true or not, that it's kind of like Canada in the fact that our film industry is new and getting exciting. Yeah, there's Hollywood that everyone thinks is great, but there are some Canadian shows that are just creeping into the Netflix of the world that people start to become obsessed with. And I think about some of the shows that are coming out of Europe, especially too, that people start becoming like, what is this? We need to start paying attention. What is it like over there?
Definitely, yeah. I can say that's true. So I've been basically concentrating on the market or on the film industry in Germany, and in now also Denmark and Norway. So like the Scandinavian countries, and also trying to sneak in a bit in the UK. What I see is definitely there are a lot of in Germany, there are a lot of series now, a lot of Netflix series in German language, but also, I mean, just films like my film, that we created in a bigger picture because we want to bring it on somewhere and see where we can go with it and maybe make a series out of it or a movie. And I think there are many people like us right now. Young independent filmmakers with great equipment, great scripts, great ideas, and Amazon Prime, Netflix, all of these things are just growing and growing. What I can definitely say is in Germany, it's still quite traditional in the way how the system works. So they are the casting directors, and they take up to 2 years to 3 years to sometimes longer, unfortunately, to even recognize you. So if they don't recognize you and they don't remember your name and your face, you don't get casted. If you don't get casted, you're not in the main pot of the things that are happening. But there's still a lot of possibilities. So first, I think just for experience and also money-wise and also just for amazing experience and playful experience, commercials great, and then creating with independent filmmakers, because in Berlin there's so much going on, and I'm telling everyone, if you just want to shoot a lot, come to Berlin. Maybe you're not going to be rich afterwards or something, but it can be that one of the shootings you did is landing a Netflix contract or something by chance. This can really happen a lot and happened here. Once you're established with the casting directors and you have a really good agency here in Berlin, everything changes. Then you're quite recently booked for big stuff, for TV and everything. But I'm just 1.5 years in business, so I'm just starting off. I'm getting there. I have a really great German agency. But then I see Norway and Denmark is a complete little bubble. So it's like you're diving, and that's what's interesting for me. It's like you're diving in a bubble, and in this bubble, everybody knows everyone. And that's really cool. And it's all about networking. So you go there and you have actor friends and you're being kind to reach out to them. They introduce you to this little company who's doing some commercials or some independent movies. You get your first role, then someone else hears of you, and it's a snowball. But you gotta definitely go there. You gotta be present there and you gotta meet people. But that's really old school. And I love that about the Scandinavian countries, and that's why I want to work there more, because it's so easy to get jobs in the end, because it comes with being kind and just networking, meeting people. And then in Berlin, it's different because everything is online, and we're still a bit restricted because of the COVID thing. So then people are a bit more hesitant still to meet and network face to face. So it works here, it all works online. I do my self-tapes all online, and I really got to push through with a good online presentation to get to the casting directors. In Denmark, you wouldn't even need to have a website if you're just good at networking.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah. What was I going to ask you? And that's just fascinating. I think so much, I don't know if there is the same push for actors in Germany, in the UK, and the Scandinavian countries to put LA and Hollywood up on a pedestal. Like, is that the goal for everyone there? Because for a lot of actors in Canada, that is still the goal, being once I get good enough for Canada, once I'm done in Canada, the end goal is always going to Los Angeles.
It's always the end goal. I feel it never changes. It's really like everybody wants to go to Hollywood in the end.
Yeah.
And for me, I think I just want to do big things, you know. I just want to have leading roles and have some dream roles that I'm playing, but I don't need to especially do it in Hollywood. And I did think a lot about it, because I think, by the way, great if you're an actor and thinking a lot about what you want to do and how you want to do things and where you want to go, because if you have a dream, and we all know that, and we keep holding on to it, it becomes true. Yeah. And I, for myself, decided, for example, that I find the travel that I'm doing right now so interesting, of discovering how different countries work acting-wise, and getting jobs there and networking and making friends, and that I lost Hollywood a bit, and it's not so interesting for me anymore, because I'm like, I'm having so much fun, I'm traveling the world, I'm understanding different industries by myself, you know? That's so interesting that I don't know what people want in New York. I'm like, I'm good where I am, you know? I love and I didn't even come to Sweden yet, to Finland, you know? Like...
Yeah, there's so many other places, I think, and again, that's why I think it's so exciting to be in these, what we call like smaller markets of, you know, Canada, the UK, Europe, and stuff like that, because everyone here is so passionate about what they do.
Yes.
Because it's still so new and exciting and growing. There's no it's not stagnant. Yeah.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. Like my last film in Oslo, everybody is so on fire. Everybody was so passionate, young people full of spirit, and they want to go somewhere with the project. And it was a blessing to work with them. Like really, I was touched. We were all close to tears every day, because it was really mind-blowing how people show up and how passionate they are. And that's why I started acting, because I wanted to put my whole self into it, you know. And then meeting other people, DOPs, sound light guys, I see, whoa, they're doing the same, just on their job, obviously. It's super touching. It makes me just already like having goosebumps. It never stops. It's like, oh, that's why I'm doing the job, you know. And that's very true. Yeah, it's still exciting for us, and I think that's where you should go. And never forget, I mean, I do my own movies, so, and I just want to point that out, because I talked with the acting coach about it, and you know, Brad Pitt, production company in Hollywood. It's so common that actors have their own production companies and they do their own movies, and I just want to really push that, because you can write your own roles. You can be the hero you ever wanted to be. You can work with an amazing team of young people. You don't have to have money. There are other ways of funding and sponsoring, and just of people who really want to work with you because of a great script. And then I'm like, whoa, there's still people here that read a script and they say, because of the script, I'm going to work with you. It's not because of the money. It's because of a nice script, and that's wonderful. It comes back to, we're all here for the arts and to make something happen that's really meaningful, but it comes from a really good place.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite memories from being on set or any of the projects that you've done?
I have a lot. Just the first one comes into my mind. My last film in Oslo, we got a boxing hero from Norway to shoot with us. Her name is Fatima, and she is an MMA star. And she had like a little side role in the movie. And after that, actually, it was after the shooting. She was still there, and I'm like, can we just box? You know, like I have my earrings, and I have like, I'm coming from another part of the shoot, but let's do it. You know, and they got some gloves, and we were boxing, and she was so there, and she like, yeah, we had like 1 minute, but it was amazing. I was so grateful. And the shoot we did before, um, where I was at home with Lucas Lugren, and my character, my character experiences her father being drunk, so very intense scene. And Lucas Lugren, the Swedish actor, hit it off. And instead of using any acting technique because I wanted to cry and it was perfect to cry, I just had to cry every scene. We did it like, I think we did it 20 times. And every take, like my eyes were watering. And it was like, how does he do it? Because I just believe him completely that he's my father. And I just have to cry because it's so heartbreaking the way he talks to me. Um, and that's a moment of complete gratefulness because, and I know why am I doing this, you know? I know the
Now I have
techniques.
goosebumps.
Yes, I know the techniques, and in case everything goes wrong, I can
Hmm.
do them and I can cry with my techniques and my skills. I studied 4 years. But the best thing that can happen to you in the world is just standing there and being touched by the moment, and you don't have to do anything because it just happens to you. And then,
That is
yeah.
so special. And like and the generosity of a scene partner like that, right? Like, oh,
He's an acting teacher, and he really got. And then I'm so grateful. And again, I chose him. I wanted to play with him because I knew he's an amazing actor. And we don't have to sit with the things that are given to us by chance, but we can create this this moment for us, you know?
is there anything that you're looking forward to coming up this year?
Yes, I'm gonna do a new movie in Copenhagen,
Ooh.
and I'm super excited about it because I learned a lot in my last movie. I definitely apply for funding, and I have a great co-producer by my side, a great director, all women, of course, because I really want to push that when I do movies, because there's so many males out there in the film industry, and I'm really not okay with that because women are so talented and they don't get a chance, and I don't like that. So I have to change that. And yeah, I'm so excited about the story, and I can't tell you the story, of course, because it's
Of course.
yeah, but this is gonna be my baby, my new baby. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. It's so exciting to have I don't know. I was going to say that I was to have power, but power is such like an aggressive word, but to just have that creative, sure, power, right? Knowing that it's yours and you can do with it what you want. I just think just that is so exciting and just yeah, so
It's the
exciting.
best feeling in the world. It's
Best
the best feeling in the
feeling.
world because you can decide things. You can decide the small things, the tiny things, like what music will the film have, but also with whom am I shooting the film, how what is the location of the film, like all these things, and it's just completely yours. It's a wonderful creation process. Yeah, it's very, very true.
Yeah. Do you have any like kind of words of advice or wisdom for like for something like that for me? I love this idea of that. Like that just gets me so excited, but it sounds very overwhelming as well too. Like what do you do like if you start to feel overwhelmed with everything that you get to be doing and the creativity is just like whoa, there's just so much that you have to do. Like how do you kind of plan for this? How do you work your way through all the things that are coming up for some a huge project like this?
Yeah. So first, I'm very good at scheduling. So
Mm.
I'm a life coach myself, and I received a lot of coaching, and we worked a lot on schedules and scheduling your time and also how to work through moments of being overwhelmed, definitely. I just have also always a great team. So I make sure when I work with someone on a film that it's people I can trust 150%. 100% is not enough. So it needs to be okay that you fight and you know you will be well after the fight, because it can happen if it's successful. It shouldn't happen. So plan a lot of time, because the more time you have for a project, the less stress you have. But also if you pack it more, the time frame a bit tighter, this also the energy is packed more, which is nice because there's more passion. On the long term, it's sometimes hard to keep the passion alive. But definitely a great team with people you can trust fully and that will support you and will not jump off the project, and communication and connection is everything. That's the first thing. And transparent communication. I have this and this money, budget at all. Talk to people. And then if you do it all by yourself and you know, when I did my last movie, I went out myself to the restaurants and I asked them, can you sponsor us the food for the shoot? So then I did it myself for a few days, and then we found a few restaurants who did it. And so I took everything step by step, you know, and I did it. So that's the one thing. And then I don't get too often overwhelmed, I have to say, because I'm doing what I love, and I think it's the mindset. It's having, because that's a thought. I'm overwhelmed, it's a thought. And then your body reacts to it. You can tell yourself something else, something better, a better story. I would like another story more, like I'm grateful for all these ideas, or I'm grateful for the explosion of creativity hitting my system, you know? And then I'm already like ready to put on some music and just celebrate that. And last but not least, I mean, now that I'm creating movies, it comes from a super deep place. It comes from a super deep longing or a question or a pain, you know, something that I experienced in my life or that I saw. And that is all I need. And then everything else, I mean, and obviously then this becomes my first priority. You know, so I make time for it. I make space for this. How can I let this plant grow? And then there are other things like that. And I just have a few basic coaching systems in my head. For example, you can't have too many babies at the same time. It just doesn't work. You have one main baby or two main babies, so projects you're working on, and then a few smaller things you can do. Not more than one hand. And saying no to a lot of things, because you know better things will come, or you create them yourself. So you gotta say no a lot of times. And I really encourage all actors to do that, because only then you can make space for the really cool things coming into your life.
Oh, fantastic. Do you have any final words of wisdom or advice? I mean, this has been filled with that, but any kind of final words?
Don't think you have to be perfect. Never, ever. I'm so often insecure. I'm so often irritated or not sure. But I just listen to your heart and find a lot of moments of stillness and listening in. And then you go out and you create it. And you meet people, and some will love you, some will be irritated by you, some will maybe hate you. But as long as you tune back in again and again, you won't get irritated to on a deep level, but you will just receive whatever comes. Okay, some hate me, some love me. I'm okay. And I'm standing here imperfect as I am, trying to do a movie or trying to play this leading role or this character, or flying from Germany to Copenhagen to do this commercial, and maybe I didn't sleep much, but I'm here and I love what I do. So just don't be afraid to be perfect, to be insecure sometimes, to not know what to do. Just keep asking questions and listen to your heart.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thank you, Lisa, for being my guest this week. Thank you for taking us on a deep dive into the importance of ego, Chekhov, and how fascinating and exciting the European film industry is. I know I mentioned this in the actual episode, but I think the European film industry and the Canadian film industry have a lot in common, in the fact that, one, we don't have a star system because we are so new, but two, because we are so new and young and up and coming, most of the people within this film industry are really excited to be there. There's passion, there's growth, it's not stagnant. So I think those of us in Europe and those of us here in Canada, I think we're really, truly lucky to be here when this is all getting going and getting started. I hope you'll tune in next week for another episode of Second Act Actors. Bye!